Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasa Tato Jayamudire Nashtapanishu Avadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Ruttamastoke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namah Avamajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavansha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakanitasha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshitarane Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishe Nama हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्ते तप्त कंचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे यस प्रभु
Hare Krishna, reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. By His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. We are reading from Canto 4, Chapter 5, Frustration of the Sacrifice of Dakṣa. So we are in the second section of this chapter, where Vīrabhadra and his associate, they are approaching the sacrificial arena, and people are discussing what is the cause of this big storm is. There is no wind blowing, there are no cows passing by, neither there is a band of plunderers who are attacking because of Prachina Barhi, still alive, Jivati. And this is, we come to text 9. Prasuti Mishra Striya Udvigna Chitta Uchir Vipako Vrijanasyaiva Tasya Yat Paschantinam Druhitrunam Prajeshah Sutam Satim Abadhyana Ganagam. Translation.
Prasuti, the wife of Daksha, along with the other women assembled, became very anxious and said, "This danger has been created by Daksha because of the death of Sati, who, even though completely innocent, quit her body as her sisters looked on." Purport. Prasuti, being a soft-hearted woman, could immediately understand that the imminent danger approaching was due to the impious activity of hard-hearted Prajapati Daksha. He was so cruel that he would not save her youngest daughter Sati from the act of committing suicide in the presence of her sisters. Sati's mother could understand how much Sati had been pained by the insult of her father. Sati had been present along with the other daughters, and Daksha had purposely received all of them but her because she happened to be the wife of Lord Shiva. This consideration convinced the wife of Daksha of the danger which was now ahead, and thus she knew that Daksha must be prepared to die for this heinous act. Hare Krishna.
So Prasuti, wife of Daksha, she could realize, based on this thunderstorm and the dust storm being raised there, she realized that there is a terrific danger which is awaiting now and which will be causing the death of Daksha, and this is because of Sati quitting her body. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains, so Prasuti, being a very soft-hearted woman, immediately could understand the imminent danger, and this danger is because of Sati committing suicide in presence of her sisters, right? Where Druhitrunam Prajesha Sutam Tat Pashyantinam. When her sisters looked on, Sati, just burnt herself within the fire. And this Prasuti knew this is because Daksha received all his daughters very well, except Sati, because Sati was related to Lord Shiva. And thus Daksha committed purposefully. Daksha insulted Sati, and now, as a response of this insult, as a reaction of this insult, Daksha must die for this heinous act. Text 10. यस्त्वन्तकाले जटाकलाप खशूलकूर्चार्पितदिग्गजेन्द्रः वित्तस्य नृप्तत्युपध्वजा नृहात् सतन्तस्तनयन्तु न भिन्नदृक्. Translation.
Translation. At the time of dissolution, Lord Shiva's hair is scattered and he pierces the rulers of the different directions with his trident. He laughs and dances proudly, scattering their hands like flags as thunder scatters the clouds all over the world. Purport. Prasuti, who appreciated the power and strength of her son-in-law, Lord Shiva, is describing what he does at the time of dissolution. This description indicates that the strength of Lord Shiva is so great that Daksha's power could not be set in comparison to it. At the time of dissolution, Lord Shiva, with his trident in hand, dances over the rulers of the different planets, and his hair is scattered, just as the clouds are scattered all over all directions in order to plunge the different planets into incessant torrents of rain. In the last phase of dissolution, all the planets become inundated with water, and that inundation is caused by the dancing of Lord Shiva. This dance is called the Pralaya dance or dance of dissolution. Prasuti could understand that the dangers ahead resulted not only from Daksha's having neglected her daughter, but also because of his neglecting the prestige and honor of Lord Shiva. Hare Krishna.
Prasuti could immediately realize this is something like a mini pralaya coming close. At the time of dissolution, Lord Shiva's hair is scattered. So this is the Tandava Nritya, Shiva Tandava. This is being explained here, right? And in fact, the demon Vīrabhadra, which was coming there, is coming from the hair of Lord Shiva, and thus Lord Shiva's hair. That's why Prasuti very precisely could point out this is the storm being produced by the hair of Lord Shiva. He pierces the rulers of the different directions with his trident, and he laughs and dances proudly, scattering their hands like flags, and thunder scatters the cloud all over the universe. Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport, this is the Shiva Tandava at the time of Pralaya, at the time of dissolution. And Lord, the strength of Lord Shiva is so great that Daksha is no match. Lord Shiva with the trident in his hand will be chastising rulers of the different planets, and there will be a complete dissolution. Later we will see what happens during the dissolution, what the pralaya takes place. This is also very beautifully explained in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, how the pralaya takes place. So all the planets become inundated with water, and there is a pralaya dance, the dance of resolution. And this Prasuti reasoned, this is because of two things. The one thing is Daksha neglected her daughter, and not only that, Daksha also minimized the prestige and honor of Lord Shiva. So because of these two reasons, now this calamity is upon us. Text 11. Amarshayitva tamasayatejam manyuplitam dur
Your voice is not audible.
Yeah. scattering the luminaries in the sky, and he covered them with his strong piercing effulgence. Because of the misbehavior of Dakṣa, even Lord Brahma, Daksha's father, could not have been saved from the great exhibition of anger. So, but even his father could save him, Lord Brahma. Text 12. भवेव विद्वांग शोच्यमाने जनेन दक्षस्य मुहुर्महात्मनः उत्पेतुरुत्पाततमासहस्रयो भयावहा दिवि भूमौ च पर्यः. Translation.
While all the people talked amongst themselves, Daksha saw dangerous omen from all sides, from the earth and from the sky. Purport. In this verse, Daksha has been described as Mahatma. The word Mahatma has been commented upon by different commenters in various manners. Vīrabhadra Acharya has indicated that this word Mahatma means steady in heart. That is to say that Daksha was so strong-hearted that even when his beloved daughter was prepared to lay down her life, he was steady and unshaken. But in spite of his being so strong-hearted, he was perturbed when he saw the various disturbances created by gigantic black demon. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur remarks in this connection that even if one is called Mahatma, a great soul, unless he exhibits the symptom of a Mahatma, he should be considered a Duratma or a degraded soul. In Bhagavad Gita 9.13, the word Mahatma describes the pure devotee of the Lord. Mahatmanastu mam partha devim prakritim ashritaha. A Mahatma is always under the guidance of the internal potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And thus, how could such a misbehaved person as Daksha be a Mahatma? A Mahatma is supposed to have all the good qualities of the demigods. And thus, Daksha, lacking those qualities, could not be called a Mahatma. He should instead be called Duratma, a degraded soul. The word Mahatma to describe the qualifications of Daksha is used sarcastically. Hare Krishna.
So while all these people were talked among themselves, what is the cause? Daksha saw the dangers from all sides, from down from the earth and from the sky. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains there is a word Mahatma here which is used for Daksha, and there are different acharyas give different commentary on why this word Mahatma is used. So Vīrabhadra Acharya and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, these two commentaries are being described here. So Vīrabhadra Acharya explains that the word Mahatma means steady in the heart, but it is actually sarcastically being used because although such a beloved daughter, such a Sadguni, Sarvaguna Sampanna Satī, she self-humiliated, still Daksha was steady and not shaken. And this is considered a sign of a Duratma. Example is just like when Abhimanyu, he lays his life on the battlefield in Mahabharata. There is such a beautiful description, Abhimanyu's death and Vilap of Arjuna, Arjuna's Vilap. Later we will see, in later cantos we will see Chitraketu, such a majestic personality. But when he hears about the death of his son Harshashoka, how he's trembling and falling, and what is the condition of Chitraketu. But here, Sati was as great as Abhimanyu, and still she self-humiliated herself, died in front of Daksha, and Daksha was still very steady in the heart. So such a person is sarcastic Mahatma, which is actually Duratma. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains that Daksha was a Mahatma, but he did not exhibit the quality of Mahatma. And what is that quality? Mahatmanastu mam partha daivim prakritim ashritaha. In fact, that quality was exhibited by Lord Shiva by constantly being in touch with Paramatma, always meditating on the Lord Vasudev and being in the Shuddha Sattva. And Dakṣa, being called here Mahatma, is actually Duratma. So he says, unless one exhibits the symptoms of a Mahatma, he should be considered as Duratma, a degraded soul. Prabhupada somewhere in Bhagavad Gita writes that Mahatma is not a political stamping. You call this person Mahatma, that person Mahatma. No. Mahatma is Mahatmanastu mam partha daivim prakritim ashrita. They have to take shelter of the internal potency of the Supreme Lord. And therefore, the word Mahatma used here is sarcastically used for Dakṣa, that this Mahatma is now going to be butchered by Vīrabhadra. Text 13. Tavat sarudranucharair mahamako nana yudhair vamanakair rudayudhaihi vinkai pishachair makarodarananair paryadravadbhir vidurandvat arudhratah. Translation.
My dear Vidura, all the followers of Lord Shiva surrounded the arena of sacrifice. They were of short stature and were equipped with various kinds of weapons. Their bodies appeared to be like those of sharks, blackish and yellowish. They ran all around the sacrificial arena and thus began to create disturbances.
Yeah. Now, by this time, all the followers of Lord Shiva, along with Vīrabhadra, they reached the arena of the sacrifice and they surrounded the arena with nana ayudha, with different weapons in their hands. And thus, these people were very short, blackish, yellowish, looking like the sharks. And this was a very typical exhibition of the tamoguna, tamas. They ran around the sacrificial arena and began to create disturbance everywhere, trying to throw the ghee pot, doing this and that. And this is how they're trying to trouble or trying to destroy the sacrifice of Dakṣa. Now we come to the third section of this chapter where Dakṣa yajña was destroyed by followers of Lord Shiva, Shivanugas. So this is text 14 to 18. Text 14. Kechit bhajanshu pragyamsham patnishalam tatha pare sadagnitra cha tadviharam cha mahanasam. Translation.
Some of the subjects. Go ahead, Mataji.
Some of the soldiers pulled down the pillars which were supporting the pandal of sacrifice. Some of them entered the female quarters. Some began destroying the sacrificial arena, and some entered the kitchen and the residential quarters. Hare Krishna.
This demons began to enter everywhere. And some soldiers, they are not called as demons here, some soldiers pulled down the pillars, which was of the pandal of the sacrifice. Some entered the antapur, some entered the kitchen area, some entered the residential quarters, and wherever they saw anything and everything, they just began the destruction. Text 15. Rurujur yajña patrani tathaike gnin anashayan kundena shvamutrayan kechit vividvir vedimekhalah. Translation.
They broke all the pots made for use in the sacrifice, and some of them began to extinguish the sacrificial fire. Some tore down the boundary line of the sacrificial arena, and some passed urine on the arena.
Yeah, so this was the destruction that was being created there. Some were breaking the pots containing all the the items of the sacrifice. There is a ghee, there is a kumkum, there is all the items of the sacrifice. They were breaking the pot. Some started pouring water on the sacrificial fire. Some tore down the boundary wall of the sacrificial arena where the the bhūtas and all the great pandits, they will be sitting and performing the sacrifice. And some passed urine to contaminate the area of the sacrifice. And thus they began to pass stool and urine around the sacrificial arena. This is how they started destroying the sacrificial arena. Text 16. अबाधन्त मुनीनन्ये एके पत्नीर्तर्जयन् अपरे जगृहुर्देवान् प्रत्यासम्मान् पलायितान्. Translation.
Some blocked the way of the fleeing sages, some threatened the women assembled there, and some arrested the demigods who were fleeing the pandal. Hare
Yeah.
Krishna.
So seeing this, many of the sages, they began to flee, want to leave the assembly. So some followers, some soldiers of Lord Shiva, they blocked the way of the fleeing sages. Some began to threaten the women around there, and some arrested the demigods who were fleeing the Panda. Now, demigod, their Brahma Tejas was reduced. So here the Shiva Tejas was taking over. So automatically, by the virtue of witnessing the sacrifice of Sati or the self-immolation of Sati, they got reduced in their strength. And thus, they were very easily arrested by all the soldiers who were trying to flee. The demigods were trying to flee the arena, but they were captured by the soldiers. And similarly, the sages also were blocked by them. Text 17. भृगुबबन्ध मणिमान् वीरभद्र प्रजापतिं चण्डेशः पूषणं देवं भगं नन्दीश्वरो गृहीत्.
Maniman, one of the followers of Lord Shiva, arrested Bhrigu Muni, and Vīrabhadra, the black demon, arrested Prajapati Dakṣa. Another follower, who was named Chandesha, arrested Pusha. Nandishwara arrested the demigod Bhaga. Prabhuji, coincidentally, today is appearance day of Vīrabhadra.
Yeah, yes. So, yeah, right. So this Maniman, one of the follower of Lord Shiva, arrested Bhrigu Muni. So Bhrigu was the powerful personality who had created Rubu demigods, and they had driven away all the attendants of Sati. So first Maniman, he took, so here are the four personalities that are being mentioned here. One is Maniman, he arrested Bhrigu. Vīrabhadra, the black demon, arrested Prajapati Dakṣa. So today is, if you see Vaishnava calendar, there is a Virbhav of Vīrabhadra. But this Vīrabhadra is different than this Vīrabhadra. The Avirbhav of Vīrabhadra, this is son of Nityanand Prabhu, who is supposed to be incarnation of Ksharodakshai Vishnu. And after Nityanand Prabhu in Bengal, he spread the message of the Gaudiya Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityanand Prabhu far and wide. He was celebrated as one of the greatest preacher in the history of Vaishnavism. So this is son of Nityananda Prabhu. He is Vīrabhadra. So today's Avirbhav of Vīrabhadra is son of Nityananda. So Vīrabhadra here, the black demon who had come out from the hair of Lord Shiva, he arrested Prajapati Dakṣa, because that was the original instruction: destroy Daksha's sacrifice and Dakṣa. So he arrested Daksha. Another Chandesha, he arrested Pusha demigod, and Nandishwara, he arrested the demigod Bhaga. So these are the prominent personalities who were, so Bhrigu, Pusha and Bhaga, they were actually protecting, and Daksha was the host, Yajman of the sacrifice, and all these four personalities, they arrested these four personalities. Text 18. Sarva eva trijo drishtva sadasya sadivokasah taryaityamana subhrusham gravabhir naikadha dravan. Translation.
There was a continuous shower of stones, and all the priests and other members assembled at the sacrifice were put into immense misery. For fear of their lives, they dispersed in different directions. Thank you.
Yeah. All the while when this is going on, there was shower of stones from all the sides from followers of Lord Shiva. And all this arrest is going to take place. Sages are being held hostage, and the demigods are being captured from fleeing. And these four personalities, Maniman, Vīrabhadra, Chandesh, and Nandishwara, they are arresting this, the big demigods and Daksha himself. Continuously there was shower of stones which was going on around, and all the assembled members, they were thinking that kahan se aaye, why did we come to this sacrifice? They were put in immense misery. For the fear of their lives, somehow they started to disperse in different directions and run away from that place. Now we come to the fourth section of this chapter, that is text 19 to 26. 4 activities of Vīrabhadra, what he's going to do and how he destroyed, perfectly destroyed this Dakṣa yajña. Text 19. Juhatah stuvahastasya shmasruni bhagavan bhavah brulobhur dupretadasi sohastan mashru darshayan. Translation.
Vīrabhadra tore off the mustaches of Bhrigu, who was offering the sacrificial oblations with his hands in the fire.
Yeah. So Vīrabhadra, if you see previously, Vīrabhadra has one hand arrested Dakṣa, but Vīrabhadra, who was the commander-in-chief of this army, he pulled out the mustache of Bhrigu. So Bhrigu was offering, the sacrificial arena, he was offering the oblations. He pulled out the mustache of Bhrigu and he began to chastise Bhrigu, because Bhrigu was the personality why Rubus were created and the attendants of Lord Shiva were driven away in the previous episode. So this is how the activities of Vīrabhadra are being here mentioned. So we will conclude here and continue tomorrow. Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai.
Prabhupada.
Thank you, everybody.